What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, flu test, maybe a test for some other virus, I hope you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long-term issues and no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Sunday edition of the Virus Update for Sunday, February 23rd, 2025. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the daily virus update on all those viruses that can make us sick. Let's face it, a lot of people have been sick this winter. It has been a long, hard winter with these viruses. Oh, so many people have been getting sick. Chances are maybe that's why you clicked on this video, or maybe you were sick at some point during this winter. Want to stay informed with what's going on with all this, the news, the data, all these different viruses? Just subscribe down below. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Let's try for over 200 like button hits today. Of course, share this video with anyone you know, hit the notification bell, and leave your comments down below, like oh so many people do. Our comment section, it's really turned into a community, which is fantastic. Alrighty, before we get to today's update today, I do have to thank you for something. Thank you so much for watching these videos and subscribing to my channel. We have hit a new channel milestone. 7,000 subscribers. Actually, no, over 7,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. This means I am doing the right thing, and I'm helping to keep more and more people informed. But let's keep on going. Let's try for my goal of 10,000 by the end of the year. Alrighty, we have several things to get through today. We have news stories. We have some data that we normally would have shared yesterday. Some other things that I want to look at. And maybe we can get to Wastewater Sunday at the end of the video. We'll have to see how much time is left. Remember yesterday's video that we did, which a lot of people really liked that, was actually a pre-recorded video from the day before because I went out and did some ice fishing yesterday, the last of the season. But when we don't do a news and data-filled video, which there was data, but when we don't do a updated news video, we do sometimes fall behind. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into things. California, 900 Californians have now died from the flu so far this season amid low vaccine rates. It's really just been a bad flu season all around the country. You can say flu vaccine rates are low. They are, but if you watched yesterday's video, you also know that immune system is a problem as well. And I got to be honest with you, there's people that have been vaccinated for flu while not a severe case have still gotten the flu. Maybe not as severe as those unvaccinated, but you get the point. The flu has just been really bad this year. And believe it or not, in California, 15 children have died of flu. More about California a little bit later. Moving on to this. In Ireland, 16,000 birds need to be called after bird flu is being detected in Northern Ireland. Yeah, it's not a good thing. We're seeing this happen all around the world. And moving on now to Texas, Hays County, Texas, San Marcos. A bird has been found dead there, and this bird that was found dead did test positive for bird flu. So that's not a good thing, but we have to stay in Hays County, Texas for a second. Why? Because we now come over to this. Possible measles exposure in San Marcos. Yes, double trouble in Hays County. And this is a Sunday news drop. This was not something we missed from yesterday. It even says here, February 23rd, 2025. Anytime we get a Sunday news drop, it's not a good thing. And one big thing I'm going to be watching this week is not only just in Texas, not only just in New Mexico, really everywhere. Will we see another big increase in measles cases? Will we see measles cases pop up in more states? It could happen in the upcoming week, and it's something we really need to pay attention to. All right, over on the COVID front, Mike Honey posted this just the other day, and I think we need to take a look at this. It's very important. Here's the latest variant picture for the United States. Now, mind you, this may not match what we see over on the CDC Nowcast page. That's okay. CDC Nowcast page is just estimates, but this just gives you an idea of what's going on, and it gives you a chart view. XCC variants are still around 32%. LP.8.1 variants have been growing steadily and are now up to around 26%. If you're new to my channel, maybe you've never heard about variants before, well, let me tell you. Variants are the reason why COVID is still a thing. COVID constantly keeps evolving. Each time there's a new variant, sometimes there's differences, sometimes they're a little similar, sometimes there's big differences, and those big differences are enough to cause a new wave of COVID. COVID's made up of hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of different variants at this point. And we can see here on this chart, here's XEC right here, and XEC is dropping, and then in the purple we have LP 0.8.1, which is rising at this point, and eventually there's going to be a crossover where they cross each other, and LP 8.1 takes over. Will that cause a new wave of COVID? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Usually most states do not see a spring wave. Sometimes the South does. Pennsylvania has seen one before for various different reasons. Nationwide, there usually isn't a big spring surge, but sometimes you get individualized areas. I believe it was 2021 or 2022. It might have been 2022. Up in Michigan, there was a big wave that really caught people off guard. So, I mean, it can happen right now. We just have to wait and see what happens. More so, what's likely to happen is, yeah, we get another big wave come summer. In the Pacific Northwest, up in Washington State, Bellingham Hospital, hope I said that correctly, Bellingham Hospital, overwhelmed by RSV flu patients, something that we've seen happen many different times. St. Joseph's Medical Center in Bellingham is experiencing unprecedented volumes of patients in its emergency department. I mean, you got RSV, you got flu cases. Yeah, this has been a theme that's been seen a lot across this country, and really in other countries as well. The UK has gotten hit really hard this winter, so yeah, this should be no surprise. Some places it's just happening a little later than others. Speaking of the UK, there's a problem with this. Suspected norovirus outbreak on British ship, people dropping like flies, says the report. Yikes, this is not good. Several people have come down with the norovirus, and if we scroll down here, we actually find a little tidbit about the UK. Meanwhile, it says, a record number of patients in UK have been infected with the norovirus. Get this, at least 1,160 patients were admitted to hospitals with the viral infection. Last week, BBC reported, citing data from NHS England. That's not good. That comes after a 22% rise on the week before, pushing it to the highest levels since records began in 2012. Norovirus has just been really bad in the UK. It's been really bad here. I don't know if they're having their late wave later than us, because we've had our waves already for norovirus. I hope that doesn't mean we're going to have another wave down the line. I don't think so. Maybe they're just in reverse. Because remember, back when it came to flu, they had a massive flu wave prior to us, and that was pretty much writing on the wall. Oh boy, look what's happening in the UK. Look what's going to be coming here soon. And, well, yeah, our first wave came. Then it double peaked because things got really cold in many places, and flu just went bonkers across the United States. All right, we have to move on to this story. Pope Francis says, pray for me as he battles pneumonia in the hospital. Sounds like his situation has gotten worse. He has now been in the hospital since, I believe it was early last weekend or that Friday. So he's been in the hospital for a while. And yes, he has taken a turn for the worse. Please, if you're religious, please pray for the Pope, because he needs some prayers right now. Reminder, he is 88 years old. So, yeah, hopefully he pulls through. The viral activity level in Canada for COVID-19 is moderate. Flu A is high. Flu B is moderate. RSV is high at this time. Taking a look at what's going on with air quality values across the United States, and we can see, if it does load up, yeah, we got some bad air qualities going across from about Minnesota, northern Illinois, Michigan, parts of Ohio, Indiana, New York, Pennsylvania. I honestly don't know what's going on there. I'm going to be investigating that. I don't think there's a wildfire. There could be a wildfire, but yeah, there's a lot of oranges and reds going on there. Not something we like to see at this time. And of course, zooming in here to where I'm at in southeast Pennsylvania, yeah, some oranges. So guess what I'm not doing today? I will not be going outside because I suffer from asthma and post-COVID issues. Taking a look at California, you do have some problems as well. And there's also some problems along the Gulf Coast today, from New Orleans over through to the Florida Panhandle. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. All right, 2 days worth of EMS data from Philadelphia. First off, Friday there were 832 EMS calls, and on Saturday there were 754 EMS calls. In Pinellas County, Florida, we do see some calls ongoing right now. Sick person is showing up a couple times. Let's see what's going on in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. And I'm happy to report during today's update there is no cardiac arrest there right now. Hopefully that can stay the same over in Chester County. Montgomery County, not that busy right now. Taking a look at Chester County, and look at this. We do not see cardiac arrest. We do, however, see stroke at this time. Stroke's not a good thing either. Taking a look at what's going on with the hospitals in Pennsylvania, yeah, there's some yellows showing up. Some problems going on. And I'm looking up here, the area I was in yesterday. Hey, everything's all green up there in that portion of Pennsylvania. And New Jersey. Take a look at this. New Jersey is doing really well today. Just one hospital dealing with an issue. And other than that, hey, things have finally gotten a little bit quieter in New Jersey today. Speaking of New Jersey, I want to show you something. I was doing some changing around of my browser window for the virus update. To be honest with you, I have it usually set up there, and for whatever reason, it got X'd out with a Windows update. I'm like, oh boy, I guess I have to reorganize it again and start it all over again. Well, I forgot. New Jersey does have this newer, I should say. I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me. New Jersey now has this respiratory dashboard since they X'd out the old COVID hospitalization one. So take a look at this. Week ending on 2-8-25, total flu cases in New Jersey, they had 11,416. You can also take a look at RSV and COVID, if it comes up. Here's, I think, is RSV. Can we get RSV in there? Yes. And in New Jersey, they had, wow, take a look at this. This is for RSV, right? Yeah, wow. All right, total RSV tests performed, 4,134. And it looks like the positivity rate for RSV in New Jersey is at least dropping at this time. And then when it comes to COVID in New Jersey, cases, 2,210 cases have been reported there. So, yes, there are still cases of these viruses ongoing in New Jersey. Speaking of cases and various different data, let's go over to CJS's report now and take a look at his report for Thursday and Friday. But before we do that, we need to stop and take a hydration break. It's very important that you keep yourself hydrated. Today I am drinking water. I think now's a good time to do it. As you see here, we have a lot of stuff from him. Alrighty, that was refreshing, wasn't it? Let's start off with his Thursday report. Then we will do his Friday report. Reminder, some of this is daily data and some of this is weekly. The majority of this is weekly data. Florida on Thursday had 1,055 new cases and 18 new deaths. New Jersey reported a weekday number of 525 new cases and 10 new deaths. New York State on Thursday had 1,064 new cases reported via their open data page. And Puerto Rico had 312 new cases. Now some weekly numbers. And Colorado had 210 new positive tests. Their positivity rate was 3.2%, and 12 deaths were reported by the CDC data tracker. Connecticut, weekly number, 547 new cases, and 13 deaths were reported this week by the CDC data tracker. Delaware, 222 new cases and 1 new death. Indiana, 2,324 new cases and 18 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. Kentucky, weekly number, 1,712 new cases and 15 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. Massachusetts, 1,291 new cases and 19 new deaths. That sounds like a high number for Massachusetts. Minnesota, 954 new cases, 15 new deaths. North Carolina, 573 state-reported hospital visits and 26 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. New Mexico, weekly number, 450 new cases and 5 new deaths. Ohio, 4,616 new cases and 29 state-reported deaths, although 40 Ohio COVID deaths were reported by the CDC data tracker. So CDC reporting a higher number than what was reported by the state. Utah, 322 people added to their living with COVID and 4 new deaths. All right, on Friday he did give us a ton of stuff. First off, the daily number from Florida on Friday was 319 new cases and 12 new deaths reported. And for the week, it looks like there were 3,156 new cases and 59 new deaths. And it says here the CDC also reported 483 COVID-related hospitalizations in Florida. New Jersey, 472 new cases reported for the day on Friday. And for the week, this is in his report, 3,275 COVID cases and 17 deaths reported this week. CDC also had 366 related hospitalizations. New York, 1,318 new cases reported for the day. The weekly number was 7,557 cases reported over the past week, or past 7 days. To go along with 33 new deaths, CDC also reported 782 COVID-related hospitalizations in New York. Puerto Rico, 156 new cases for the day, 1,063 for the week, 2 new deaths reported over the last 7 days. Alabama, 225 CDC reported hospitalizations. Arizona reported 9 deaths. Arkansas reported a weekly number of 9 deaths. California, get this, 2,464 new positive tests, 833 CDC reported hospitalizations, 57 new reported COVID deaths, and flu is really bad in California. We talked about that earlier. Another 183 new state-reported flu deaths. Georgia, weekly hospitalizations, 216 reported by the CDC, and 30 deaths added to the CDC data tracker. Idaho, 588 emergency department visits, 6 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. Illinois, 507 reported hospitalizations, 25 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. Illinois has now gone past, get this, 43,000 deaths. Yeah, COVID's not over, folks. It's still a thing. Iowa, 105 CDC reported hospitalizations, 8 deaths. Kansas, 103 CDC reported hospitalizations, and 8 deaths. Louisiana, 886 emergency department visits and 3 deaths. Mississippi, 10 deaths reported to the CDC data tracker. 190 CDC reported hospitalizations for Missouri, and Missouri also added 21 deaths, so that's really bad. Montana, 177 new cases and just 3 new deaths reported this week. Nebraska, 360 new positive tests, a test case positivity rate of 7.7%, and 9 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. Oklahoma, and I'm going to highlight that because we actually have to scroll down. Oklahoma, 134 CDC reported hospitalizations, and a state reported test case positivity rate of 5.9%, and 16 deaths. Pennsylvania, that's still bad, but it is getting better. 1,099 CDC reported hospitalizations, 9th consecutive week over 1,000 COVID-related hospitalizations per the CDC, and 46 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. South Carolina, weekly number, 147 CDC reported hospitalizations and 25 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. Tennessee, reported on Wednesday, but not deaths, so here's the death number, 17 reported deaths. Texas, 2,583 new cases, 632 CDC reported hospitalizations, and yes, another 35 deaths reported. West Virginia, 495 new positive tests this week. The test case positivity rate is 7.26%, 5 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. Wisconsin, 950 new positive tests, a test case positivity rate of 5.1%, and 23 deaths reported by the CDC data tracker. The CDC added another 727 new deaths over the past week and currently shows 1,220,895 total U.S. COVID deaths. So that's bad. Another 726 deaths is bad, but I will note deaths did come down slightly for this week. All right, let's talk a little bit about wastewater. Not a lot, but we'll spend about 5 minutes on wastewater. Then we'll call it a day with this video, and I think maybe if there's time tomorrow, I don't know what the news is going to bring tomorrow, maybe we'll do some more wastewater tomorrow. We're going to go region by region with the wastewater scan, starting off with the national picture, and that's not the national picture. Here comes the national picture. First off, nationally, we see here, COVID is slowly dropping at this time, but it's still listed at high. RSV was dropping steadily through January, and that slowed off a little bit. I mean, it's still dropping, but just not dropping as fast, and if anything, it's almost come to a halt in the most recent updates there. So still listed high for RSV nationally in the U.S. Influenza A is high but dropping. Influenza B, we've been watching this rise a little bit. We'll have to see what comes of that. HMPV overall has been rising slightly, and EVD68 is low at this time. Norovirus is still high, but it is hopefully starting to drop. I hope that drop really does translate to something, because norovirus has been oh so bad this winter. In the Midwest, we are seeing COVID is still listed high, and it is dropping at this time. RSV is high, influenza A high, all dropping. Influenza B, no real direction lately, but overall this winter it has gone up somewhat. HMPV is still listed high. EVD68 is low this time, and norovirus is high but dropping at this time. I do briefly want to take a look at, I believe it's Warren, Michigan. Yes, I was alerted of this the other day. And we're seeing some wonky movements here where it goes up real quick, then it goes down, then it goes up real quick, and now it's going down real quick again for COVID. Can't really get a picture of what is going on there, but during those times where it is up really high, I mean, when it goes up, it's going up really high, things are getting rather risky there. So that is something of concern. Moving on now to the Northeast, and we can see in the Northeast, COVID's high, but it is dropping at this time. RSV was dropping. That drop has slowed off. A little bit of a wonky movement at the end. Don't pay much attention to that. It looks like influenza A is dropping once again. Flu overall was rising, and now maybe it's dropping a little bit. Don't pay attention to this wonky movement. Though, despite that, both flu A and flu B are still high. Norovirus is still high, and it's going to need to come down because the levels for that are still pretty high at this time. In the South, taking a look here, COVID is listed in the medium category, and yeah, it's being stubborn. It's not dropping really that fast. RSV is still listed high, but we can see here overall RSV has come down. Influenza A is still high. That is dropping. Influenza B is low. HMPV is low. EVD68 is low. And norovirus, hopefully, once this wonky movement is removed, hopefully we'll start to see this drop relatively soon. Taking a look at what is going on in the West, and we can see COVID, it's medium, but though it's dropping, it's not dropping that much. RSV at this time is still listed high, and RSV's actually tried to go up a little bit higher once again. Influenza A, X out the wonky movement, and yes, you would see a drop there. Influenza B is still listed high, and hopefully we can get that to drop relatively soon. Norovirus is still high, but it is starting to drop slightly. All right, now taking a look at the CDC picture, and we can see nationally, COVID is listed at moderate at this time, and we can see there's some blue out there. Blue's good. That means low levels of COVID. And we can see that in some of the Northeast, some of the West, various different places. But we still do see some oranges and reds at this time. What's orange and red? Yeah, those are high levels of COVID in wastewater. And when we take a look at what's going on in Arizona, you can see there's still some work to be done. The Midwest still has work to be done. The South. So there's still scattered areas that are just not doing great for COVID, where transmission is still a bit too high. We need to see these levels come down. I mean, after all, orange sites, still 304 of them. Red sites, still 73 of them. That is not a good thing. And we can see here, overall, when we take a look at this chart here, which shows the different regions, the Midwest, yeah, that's going up a little bit again. I think that's going to start going back down. I hope it is. But nationally, when we look at this chart for COVID, it is dropping. Taking a look at influenza A in wastewater, and we can see nationally there are signs that is finally peaking and starting to drop, though it is still in the high category. And RSV at this time, that has been dropping, and it is now back into the low category. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Sunday edition of the Virus Update. I hope you enjoyed this update. We'll have another update again tomorrow. We'll likely have Walgreens. I think we'll take a look at some of those emergency department visits for people diagnosed with COVID. And we'll look at some more wastewater sites and, of course, all the news of the day. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. Hit that notification bell. Share this video with anyone you know. And leave your comments down below. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Sunday afternoon. Thanks for watching.